This is Mike C, and I'm kicking it over here with the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John and Pete.
Man, Mike C is in the house.
Yeah, something
back
like that.
in Cali from New Mexico after so many years. How many years were you out there?
Oh my gosh. I think like about 12, 13, something like that.
What were you doing in New Mexico, man? What took you out there?
Man, it was crazy.
That story has to start that way.
I know, right? Yeah, it's always. Yeah,
I've got a good idea. Let's go to New Mexico. That doesn't happen that way.
Not at all. Not at all. No, they call it the land of entrapment. And I know,
enchantment? No.
No, entrapment. And I know why now. I think what it was I was working with Babyface. I was for about 6 years doing a lot of production and remixes and, working out of Edmonds, the building over here in Cahuenga. Well, things started getting a little weird. There was a guy that came into the studio. He was in one of the rooms they were recording, and we went out and started talking. And he was a drummer.
Uh-huh.
Long story short, he was from New Mexico. And I told him that I had a guy out here that I wanted to put him with, to play drums with. A guy that I used to have demo a lot of my material. I put them together. Ended up going to New Mexico. I had them put a band together out there, work out all the bugs, and then we were going to come out here because I was in the process of doing a deal with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis with my guy.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a band yet, and I wanted to develop him a little bit more. So I said, well, hey, why don't you go out there? You guys do some stuff. And
yeah, go work it out.
And then we'll come back. And
send him to the woodshed.
Yeah, pretty much.
In New Mexico.
Anyway, I took a break from here, and I went out there to go see how
things were going.
I get out there, and he totally, sucked. And I was like, dude, we got to fix this.
Okay.
So we ended up working on that, fixing that. The band out there ended up doing a lot of shows and just got stuck into being out there. New Mexico. I ended up, I was flying back and forth, and I ended up, being out there more than I was out here, and it just ended up longer and longer and longer, and I'm just like, oh man, I think
here it comes.
I'm trapped. I can't get away. You know what I mean?
Eventually, your boots got stuck in the quicksand.
So
our guest on the show that's up right now,
mm-hmm.
he did the same thing, but he had the smarts to do it in New Orleans. Sorry, Nolens.
I'm
trying to learn how to say it right.
There you go.
I'm such a white dude. I'm like New Orleans.
Yeah.
He'll pronounce every letter.
But you
don't ever say that.
You went and got stuck in New Mexico. You got the wrong New.
Dude, I know, right? Yeah, it was. I mean, it was cool because at the time.
But you were out there for years, man.
Years.
Yeah,
you must have liked it.
I know. Well, was just out there.
Yeah.
But then what ended up happening, which was really cool, they started filming this show that was called Breaking Bad.
Right.
I ended up meeting everyone in that whole production. And so one day was at the drummer that I met out here. His mom had a restaurant, and so everybody would come to this restaurant to eat, Mexican restaurant. And I met Stephen Michael Quesada, he played Gomez on Breaking Bad with, what's his name? I can't think of his name. They were the two cops on there. Anyway, we were talking, and we were like, we should do a late night TV show.
Oh.
We talked about it and put it all together. Created this show called The After Party, which I ended up being one of the producers of the show. And basically we had every week, it was like every Saturday night it would come on. And it was just a 30-minute show, talk show. And we ended up being the house band for the show. Started off on the CW, and then we switched it to NBC.
Wow.
And it stayed on we were on for two years while they were shooting. And of course, all the guests were all the guys, everyone from Bryan Cranston to, Aaron Paul. And so, we got to hang out with everyone, and they all come out, and Bryan Cranston was a silent partner in the show. Yeah. So it did very well out there in the Southwest.
Right.
So I was out there for that, and then
So you were busy.
oh yeah, I was
Not like you were out there looking around going,
No.
what's going to
No,
happen
no,
out here?
no, we were-
And then you started off with, I sent them dudes out there to the woodshed, and I went out there and they sucked.
right.
So it's not like you got out there and went, man, you guys suck.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah,
I'm staying here.
yeah. It was fun though. It was.
Right.
It was
You worked
was-
it out.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked
got
out.
good.
It got good.
All
It
right.
got good.
So imagine following the show, you were out there doing a lot of, practicing your wares, doing a lot of production, working with artists coming through there.
Well, it was interesting because
do artists come through there? Where were you exactly?
I was in Albuquerque.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you were in
And-
Albuquerque.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that when people came through, that was like a one-off stop. So if someone's on a tour, they would come through Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So when they would come through, I would get a call because they want to come in to the studio to record.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've had all kinds of folks come through. Crazy story.
There it is.
Okay, I know you're waiting for this one. Right?
I saw the look in your face. I'm like, he's going to say crazy story.
I get a call. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit to the band. The band was called the James Douglas Show and JDS. Anyway, we were basically playing everywhere out there in Albuquerque. Well, we opened up for this show for Cat Williams.
Okay.
We go and do the show. We open
That
up.
never goes bad.
Yeah, I know. Wait till you hear this. So, anyway, so we do the show, and Cat doesn't show up till like
What?
I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
It didn't go right.
Imagine that. Yeah, imagine that. So, like, yeah, the show starts like at 8:00. He shows up like about 11:45 or something like that.
That's late. That's late for black people time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And like pretty much everyone, like half of the arena had already left.
Right.
Right. So he gets in there and he does this little stint for like, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes or something like that.
What?
Walks off the stage and people are pissed. Right. So cut to like 2 days later, I get a call and it was one of his guys and they're like, Cat wants to come to your studio to record. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what is he recording? What is he doing? You know, and he's doing a mixtape, right? Okay, so he comes to the studio, and so I get him in the booth, and he's in there doing his thing, and like, where our studio is located, we're located right next to this barbecue joint that does, barbecue. So I get the guy to like make him some barbecue, and they bring it over and all that stuff, and so he's in there eating his barbecue, and he goes in the booth, and then someone comes, I'm trying to think who it was. Someone came into the studio and they sat down and they were looking at him in the booth. So all of a sudden, I'm in front of the console and recording, whatever. He comes behind me. Cat comes behind me and he calls me CZ. Hey, CZ.
Yes, we get invitations.
Who's this guy over here? And I looked and I was like, it was one of the guys that his partner brought Cat over to the studio. So, I was like, oh, he's cool. He's cool. And Cat just like snapped. He like went off, just started screaming. He wasn't screaming at me, but he was screaming at the guy. He was like, you got to get out of here. And it was just crazy. So like they work their way outside of the studio and my studio was on a big main street. This is like 2:00 in the morning. He runs out. Oh, well, first of all, it's predominantly Latino
In this neighborhood.
in the area, in Albuquerque.
Right.
So he's going off how I hate Mexicans and blah, blah, blah. And all. It's just like,
Stand in the street.
yeah.
This is a good,
So he runs
well
out.
thought out plan.
Yeah.
He runs out in the middle of the street and he's jumping up and down and just screaming.
Getting
and
up
just
about
like,
this high.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, what's going on? And he has these bodyguards that came with him, right?
Of course.
But they're parked across the street and they're just sitting in the car, just like watching him as he's jumping up and down and screaming at everybody at night.
He
These
probably
guys,
looked like Pepe Le Pew doing the little jumping.
Yeah.
exactly.
And going, there he goes again.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like he's like just jumping up and down and screaming and like, these guys are calling their homies and the homeboys to come up here.
And they're
like,
starting to gather.
Exactly.
They're packing up.
Dude, it was crazy.
It's
so,
starting to swell.
I'm like, okay, let me just grab him.
For these sweaty vatos come across the street and
Yeah,
get
I'm
at
like,
him.
dude, you guys got to chill out. Here, let me calm him down. You know what I mean? It was just crazy.
Right.
And so his guys finally come over. They pick him up. They put him in the car.
By the nape of the neck, probably.
Right. And so,
Throw his ass in the back of the
yeah.
Suburban.
And they whisk him away. And, he did tell me, he comes back in when we came back in the studio, he's like, I'm getting out of here. This is crazy. And as he's talking like this, he's like, where's your phone? And so I'm like, I grab my phone, and he's like, let's take a selfie.
What?
Here, give me your phone. And he's doing like this, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, all right, man, I'm out. And he left.
All right.
Yeah.
Way to go, Cat.
See, I don't think Pete is enabling me enough. I think if he was a true enabler, he would let me get these demons out of myself in such a similar way, and then pick me up by the nape of the neck when the world has had enough around me, and throw me in the back of the car. Be like, okay, we got to go now.
Right?
So
Wait, make sure you get your selfie.
that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Dude, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. But I will say, I'm probably the only, well, I know I'm the only one, because when he left, he didn't get any of the stuff that we recorded.
Oh.
So I'm the only one that has a copy of what we did.
Right.
Yeah. And he was
You
like,
have the mixtape.
yeah, I have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How good is it?
It's very interesting, because he's talking about a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, he's talking about Suge Knight. He's talking about, it's kind of crazy.
And he just left without the material.
Yeah.
How much material was there?
Well, unfortunately, we only got through one song.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That's as far as he got.
That's as far as he got. Yeah, because he came in and he started, and then he walked out, and he left for like 15 minutes. And when he came back, he was in a different mind space.
Yeah. Right. He left for a minute.
Yeah.
Came back different.
Came back he was still gone.
I mentioned at the top of the show before we got on the topic of crazy ass Cat Williams that you are back in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Now, your career began here. I mean, you grew up in Riverside, right?
Grew up in Riverside.
Mike was in a band with our frequent guest engineer and my cousin Daryl. They were in a band together called Z Look. It started off called The Look, right?
That's right.
And then changed to Z Look. You guys were signed to Capitol Records.
You signed the Capitol.
And Daryl had a curl. And then I just want to lob that in there.
And a mustache.
And a mustache.
Yeah.
Not afraid to have a curl and a mustache.
That's right.
And use every button on his shirt.
Oh, wow. He doesn't have the mustache anymore, huh?
A little bit.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
You know, he just goes back and forth. He does, you know what he does, man? He does the little Clark Gable.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Yeah, I'm about to get on him about that.
Yes.
You could go ahead and have a talk with him.
Yeah.
He's cool, though. He did eliminate the curl.
Ooh,
Which,
thank goodness.
yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't we all? So anyway, following Z Look, give us a chronology of working career because in between C Look and Babyface, what did you do?
I did a lot of remixes.
Yeah. How did that band break up, man? You guys were on the cusp of something good, and all of a sudden,
Yeah, it's lead singer syndrome.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our singer decided that he wanted to, I don't know, he just,
Something.
yeah.
But you guys had a cool vibe, man. You guys were multiracial.
Yeah.
You guys had a female in the band. You guys had, there's a lot of things going for you as a 4-piece band that,
Yeah.
you know, you could have gone a lot of different directions, done a lot of creative things. And I'm sorry that didn't expand and give the world more of what you guys had to offer.
Yeah. It was cool though.
Yeah.
It was cool. Luckily, with that, for me, it kind of worked out because I was able to jump into some other projects, going back to old school, like working with Cheryl Lynn, produced some songs with her, worked with Wendy and Lisa from The Revolution.
Yeah. What did you do with Wendy and Lisa?
That was an experience.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
It was a song called Strung Out.
Okay.
It was on their album.
Fruit at the Bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that
Virgin.
song.
Yeah.
Strung Out on Love.
Yeah.
That was, I didn't know you did that song.
Yeah. Did that with them.
Dude, I'm a fan, man. I love Wendy and Lisa.
Oh, yeah. Another story.
Yeah. You had a Wendy. I didn't know you had a song on that record, man. I love that record. Me and like 11 other people love that record.
Oh, that's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah. Strung Out on Love was the cut. Dude, I didn't know that was yours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, okay, let me back up. Did the remix on it.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll cut to the studio. They come to the studio, I meet them, right? Meet them at the manager's office or whatever. And then they come in.
Were they managed by Bob Ruffalo?
No, they were managed by Pat Raines.
Okay.
Pat managed Marcus Miller, Lenny White, the Jamaica Boys.
Yes, the J Boys. Wow.
What's his face? I can't think of his name. He plays sax or trumpet or something like that. Anyway.
Sax or trumpet or something.
Yeah.
It was either Tom Brown or Kenny G. One of the two.
Like that.
Anyway.
They come into the studio.
David Sanborn. That's who it was.
David Sanborn.
Actually.
There
yeah.
you go. Man.
Then I'll pull
John's
references out of my.
man.
I got references in my behind that
Man.
I will pull out.
He
on
does.
you.
You're bad, man. You're bad.
Man.
Okay.
Can I point out that
Please
when
carry
Mike
on.
thinks, he plays his keyboard fingers.
He does.
He's looking for the note.
Oh, I know, right?
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I got it.
That's funny.
Like he's running up an imaginary.
Yes.
That's it. That's
He's
it.
like,
That's the memory.
How do I get from this? Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's because I watch Love and Hip Hop, and when they do when they're talking, they're always using their hands, and I noticed that I don't know what that does.
You picked
but
up on
it's
it,
like-
and it opened up a series of mental synapses
yeah.
for
So
you. Brings
But-
you to a new consciousness.
Right.
Yeah.
Please continue, though. You were talking
Okay.
about Wendy and Lisa.
So-
You met at the management office.
Yeah, met at the management office, and the craziest thing, I stick my hand out to shake Lisa's hand first, and she shakes my hand. I'm like, "Hi, Lisa. I'm Mike C." She's like, "Hi," and I go to shake Wendy's hand. She just kind of like does one of these numbers, and she's like, "Look, I don't want no James Brown samples in my music," and blah 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 blah, and just going off. I'm
Yeah,
just
Wendy,
like,
take it easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hi, my name is Mike." So anyway, we get to the studio and we start working on some stuff, and she comes in, and literally we had two 2-inch machines, so it was like 48 tracks
Okay.
of stuff on this song, and it was
That's a lot of stuff.
some really cool stuff, and like there was literally like 12. No, it was more than that. It was probably like about 18 tracks of guitar, right?
Damn, Wendy.
And me being a keyboard player,
Uh-huh.
I want to hear more keyboards.
Yeah.
So Lisa played some really cool stuff on keyboard. So I was like pulling those up. You know?
That was good, lush stuff.
Yeah, I was
on that record.
I was telling our engineer to like pull her stuff up and kind of bring down.
And besides, Wendy had
Wendy
pissed you
stuff.
off, so you were like, "This was
Right.
18 tracks
Yeah.
of guitar."
So anyway, we pull some of that stuff out. Anyway, she comes back.
We're
and
gonna drop all that stuff out and put Ray Parker on here anyway.
She decides that she wants to add more guitar.
Oh, because the 18 tracks of
It's
guitar
not
wasn't enough.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't enough.
But you're breaking my heart, man, because I love Wendy.
Oh, dude, let me say one thing I did learn. Man, I learned a lot of stuff from those sessions. It's just like, just there are some incredible musicians.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they grew up in it, man.
yeah, just like
I mean,
ridiculous. I was
Wendy's
just
dad
like,
was Mike Melvoin.
yeah. To this day, I'm just like blown away, how they, and Susan Rogers, you know who that is?
Yeah,
She did the engineering.
yeah.
I've never heard anything sound as pristine as, I don't know how she does it, but she's an
Wow.
amazing engineer.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
She engineered a lot of Revolution stuff, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know whether she was on early enough, like Purple Rain, but I know she was there for like Around the World in a Day.
She was on, I think she came in, that's where she came in was Purple Rain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what she's up to now. You don't see her name
I
around.
don't know. I have no idea.
Anyway, so how did it go the rest of that process?
The next day we had a session and, well, I'm sure they don't know this, but we ended up locking them out of the studio.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was just like, we didn't come in, we went to the studio to finish these mixes, and we just like...
You couldn't get them done with them around,
Yeah.
so you had to lock them out.
So we locked them out, told them that we weren't there, but we were really there. They came down to the studio. We told the staff to don't let them in.
Wow.
So
where was this? Was
Lisa,
this here in
Wendy, Lisa, I love you, Wendy. I hope you're not listening.
LA? Man, you just broke my heart, man.
But, Yeah, that was right down the street, right here, right across the street from it used to be the Edmonds Tower on Cahuenga.
Uh-huh.
It was a studio called Alumba,
Okay.
and that's where when we were in there, they were recording Bobby Brown. They did, My Prerogative.
Yeah.
They did all of the
We're trying
all
to
of
get Larry
Babyface-
White on this show. by the
Babyface
way.
in L.A. L.A. and Babyface did all of their stuff there.
Yeah.
And we were working between. They were working. I think at the time they were working with Johnny Gill. They were recording My.
Okay.
And we were sharing because there's only one room in that studio, so we were sharing the rooms.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we kind of. Oh, and on top of that, I put all kinds of James Brown samples.
There it is.
Virgin loved it.
Uh-huh.
They hated
it.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was
Because
just,
Virgin can sell James Brown samples.
Yeah.
They can sell that. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, that was fun. That was fun though.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll reconcile with Wendy on your behalf.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
I still
that's-
love you, Wendy.
that's a
If you're
good
listening, I love you.
Yeah. Everybody has their day, man.
Yeah.
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 So that was one of the things that you did following your stint on Capitol with Zila.
Yeah.
But please go on, because we're in, for our listeners, by the time this show airs, we'll want to mention that we are in our production home when we're in Los Angeles is Hilliard Guess's place, Hill Dog Studios, which
Hill
is
Dog.
right here in West Hollywood. And Hilliard Guess, everybody should know who listens to our show by now, but Hilliard Guess is is responsible for the Hilliard Guess Screenwriters Rant Room that you guys should all listen to if you're interested at all in the craft of screenwriting. And he's generous enough to give us a place to record these podcasts when we're in L.A. And he joins in on them when he's not so busy, when he's not insanely busy with all the projects
4
that he's
different
writing.
projects.
Is he busy
simultaneously.
right now? He's
Oh,
busy.
yeah.
Dude,
He's busy.
Busy.
Yeah.
It would take him 20 minutes to explain how busy he is. That's how busy he is.
That's good busy.
But you used to live in this neighborhood.
I used to live right down the street.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
And you're back downtown
I'm back downtown.
in a sexy loft smack in the
Yeah.
middle of downtown.
yeah, I'm
Oh, so
pretty excited.
swanky.
Yeah. Haven't moved in yet, but I'm very close.
Yeah. But you've moved back here from New Mexico, where I imagine it was hotter than a two-peckered goat.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous.
Peckers on a goat. Well, that's hot.
That's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot, man. That goat is hot. So,
Yeah.
what are you working on now?
Oh man, well, when I came back, I hooked up with a singer from back in the day, O'Brien, and he was on Capitol as well.
He was on Capitol, right?
Yeah.
And is he from Riverside also?
No,
Oh, I
he's,
thought
he's
he was
actually from Orange County,
Oh, okay.
the OC.
He's from the OC.
He's from the OC.
Just like
You
Jerry.
grew up in Riverside?
Oh, you're from the OC.
Yeah.
And she used to live in this neighborhood. You guys are like old time neighbors.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Boom.
High five.
There you go.
See?
You so you're working with O'Brien now.
Yeah.
You know my homeboy Charles Quinn.
Oh, Charles is a beast on bass.
Man,
He's the bass master.
he is a monster.
Yeah. It's a funny story. I met O'Brien way back when he was doing his O'Brien thing before we got signed. And it's a crazy story. Brought him down to Riverside because I used to be in contact. Back in the day, I was a DJ. I did clubs, and, anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I'm trying to think how I got in touch with him. I had a friend of mine who was close in O'Brien's circle. So I had him come up to Riverside, and there was a college station there that every Sunday was called the SOS, Soul on Sundays. So I had O'Brien come up. He did an interview on the radio and stuff like that. He didn't really remember me, which was crazy. And then ended up later, I moved down to Orange County, and I became roommates with Melvin Davis,
Who was his bass player at
who
the
was
time?
his bass player at the time.
Okay.
And then when I moved in with Melvin, he left O'Brien and he started playing with the Pointer Sisters.
Okay.
Then he asked me to do some gigs with the Pointer Sisters. So I played with the Pointer Sisters for a hot second. And,
But you and Melvin Davis were roommates.
yeah. Melvin is now, he left the Pointer Sisters to play with Shaka.
Okay.
I remember one day he was on the road and he called me and he's like, man, I just got a call to play with Shaka Khan. What do you think I should do? I was like,
Play with
Shaka Khan.
What are you doing?
That's simple.
Yeah.
And till this day, he's still
with Shaka Khan still?
He's the MD, music
Okay.
music
Oh, wow.
director for
Yeah.
Shaka.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Michael
So,
Bland.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so he's still with Shaka. But so when I when I talked to O'Brien, what happened was on Facebook when Prince passed, I did a
Wait, you just fast forwarded
Yeah.
like how many years did
I
you
know.
just fast forward? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, he went off and did his thing. We
Okay.
did our thing. Blah 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 blah. Just lost touch or whatever.
Prince passed,
And then
and
Prince
for,
passed.
if
Then
anybody
Prince-
didn't get the reference,
Yeah, then-
Michael Bland played drums for Prince on Diamonds and Pearls, and
Yeah.
a couple years following. So then ended up with Shaka Khan, and now when Prince passed on Facebook,
No, well, okay. Yeah, when Prince passed, I did a remake of DMSR. And O'Brien saw it on Facebook. It
Yeah.
was the weirdest thing. And then he messages me. He's like, dude, like, I want to do that song in my show or whatever. We need to hook up or something. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
how did he see it? You guys have Melvin in common, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I ended up following him.
Oh, okay.
That's how, yeah. And I guess maybe it showed up in the feed or something like that.
I see.
So we kind of reconnected that way. And then just recently, I mean, this is really crazy. He's just like, Melvin, he talked to Melvin, because I guess Melvin does a lot of gigs out here. Melvin plays with like everybody. He's got his own line of basses out, by the way.
No.
Anyway, so he talks with O'Brien. He's like, O'Brien tells him, oh, yeah, I'm working with Mike C. He's like, Mike C? What, you talking about Mike C? And so O'Brien's like, yeah. He's like, well, you remember we used to be roommates, because O'Brien used to come over to our apartment, but he doesn't remember me being there.
I see.
So
That's how much tail was running through that apartment.
Yeah.
Between Mike and Melvin Davis in the apartment,
yeah,
that apartment had to be crazy.
yeah. Oh,
And O'Brien used to come over, and he wouldn't even see Mike.
And the fabrics that were in that apartment.
Uh-huh.
Like, there was some colors
Velvet.
in there.
Velvet. A lot of velvet.
Yeah, all kinds
oh
of stuff.
man. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah. So anyway, that we hooked up, and so long story short, I'm playing with O'Brien now.
I see.
So
He took one look at you and he went, "Man, I've seen you before.
I've seen you before. I know
Oh,
I've
I
seen you.
remember. His apartment. I didn't recognize you without the shag pile
I'm
carpet.
like,
Exactly.
So
but then my hair was different then.
Yeah,
too.
didn't you have a curl?
I never
did.
did. I never did the curl.
O'Brien
You
did.
never the curl? Did you do
Never
the
did the
shag?
curl.
You did the shag.
I did a shag.
Attaboy.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty good.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You just
White
go down
guy
the list.
checks in.
Okay. Yeah.
So, really, but this is a very recent development, though.
Yeah.
And now that you're working with O'Brien, did the work that you had to look forward to with him precipitate your move here, or did
I was on the.
it all happen all at the same time?
It kind of all happened at the same time.
Okay.
And it was another reason for me to come out.
I see.
So
It was a reason for you to come out, but you were leaving New Mexico.
I was
anyway.
leaving. Yeah, because everything had kind of like dried up. I ended up becoming just crazy. I became
Janitor at Albuquerque Junior High School. No, I'm just kidding.
I became the Latin.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero,
Hey, and this is Pete Turner.
and if you like the show,
Do us a favor.
yeah, share it.
That's the biggest thing, honestly.
All your social media outlets, all your friends, let them know the ones that you like.
Yeah. I mean, we make this show for you guys. If you think it's great, say so. Say so by sharing it. Say so by putting a comment in after the show.
Also, if you go to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts, give us a rating, give us a review. If you think the show is great, please give us 5 stars and say so. And if you think the show really sucks, please give us 5 stars and say so.
Because, heck, we're listening.
That's right.
You can't be more approachable than us. We want to make the show better. If there's something that we're missing, let us know. That really is how you help us.
That's right. Tell us all about it. Thanks for listening.
And now, back to the show.
Rap producer of New Mexico.
Really?
No kidding.
Oh, dude.
Who'd you work with?
Oh, I mean, I've worked with Kid Frost.
I was going to say, you're going to say Kid
baby,
Frost.
you
I
know
knew he
it.
was going
Well,
to say it.
He gets mad if I call him Kid, so just
Frost. Yeah, just Frost now.
Frost,
You're on
Baby,
last name basis.
Baby Bash.
Man, I know Baby Bash since the 8th grade.
Can we
Yeah.
just say, Baby Bash, will you get her?
Quit playing and get on the show,
Get on the
man.
damn show.
Come on.
I need
Anyway.
to call him right now.
Yes,
Tell him
you
to-
do.
You
Yeah.
should call. I got his phone. You know what? Let's call it.
Let's call Baby Bash.
Oh.
No,
Jared,
please
you know
continue.
Baby
Okay.
Bash? You've heard the songs.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But a lot of the Latino artists who were
Yeah.
doing, and if you're Latino and funky,
Yeah.
you came by
Yeah.
Mike C.
Yeah. Everybody knew me from that. And
Yeah.
the funniest thing was I never thought that I would be that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was totally into like just hardcore R&B, funk, and, you know, little pop dance.
Because I don't know how to produce music, so I have to ask the neophyte question. As a hardcore R&B funk kind of guy, do you know how to do Latin hip hop? Like, is that, or do you have to figure that out? Like, how does that work? Like, do you just sit down and go, oh yeah, you need a hi hat hitting, like, you know, like, how does that work?
Well, I mean, they kind of like the urban stuff, so it just all depends. You know what I mean? My thing is all I need to do is just listen to like a vibe.
Oh, okay.
You know, if I can just hear what the vibe is, and
Right.
Where is Frost from? Is he from New Mexico or Texas?
he's from here?
Oh, is he from here? Okay. So
He
Latino
lives,
artists
he lives
though.
in Pasadena.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Latino artists though were coming from far and wide
yeah,
to record with you,
yeah,
and you had built up some renown in that community.
yeah. It's crazy.
It's not that crazy though, man. I mean, I think living in Riverside, you had enough of a sensibility of
That makes sense.
You know, I mean, you grew up a funkster.
Riverside's funny because in my high school, I went to school with Reggie and Cheryl Miller.
Oh wow,
Okay. Just because.
I'm a big fan of Reggie and Cheryl Miller.
Yeah,
I mean, I just, I like Reggie Miller because he was dramatic and smack talking. And I don't consume a whole lot of NBA product, but I always liked Reggie Miller.
yeah.
And Cheryl Miller, I just liked her because she was almost like, well,
It was real cool. Yeah, but I used.
did you
to,
watch the 30 for 30? I got to ask Pete, did you watch the 30 for 30 on Reggie Miller?
When Reggie Miller decided he was going to win a game, he didn't care how much time was left in the game. He just kept shooting threes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when he talked about how Cheryl used to beat him all the time on one-on-one.
Yes.
Yes,
She would not give him anything.
Nothing.
Cheryl was bad.
Yeah, no doubt about
was
it.
bad.
Yeah, she could play.
Yeah. Hey Cheryl. Hey Reg.
Okay. I didn't know they were from Riverside.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
In fact,
cool.
I used to work for their dad.
Okay.
I worked at a hospital. when
Their
I
dad was a
in high
basketball
school.
player too, was he not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Saul Miller.
Their dad's name is Saul?
Saul.
Okay.
yeah.
What about so where you went to high school in Riverside? What year did you graduate? Early 80s?
Yeah, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Where early 80s? I
Early
think of
80s.
early 80s Riverside, I think of the Egyptian Lover.
Oh wow.
And I want to know, music fans in this room, why were we in that era so infatuated with the concepts of Egypt and space?
Egypt.
Everything was either from Egypt or from space.
Do you remember Rodney O?
Rodney Ojokuli, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Rodney O went to my high school as well.
Okay.
He was a little younger, and I ended up doing.
You old motherfucker. You went to school with Rodney O and he was younger than you?
Yeah, I know.
God damn, I'm not as old as I thought I was. I'm sorry, Mike. Please continue.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. But yeah, I used to do music for him.
Okay.
Him. Nobody really knows this, but him and Marquise from the Two Live crew.
Yeah.
They used to rap together.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. And I did all of their music, and we did like all these 12 inches and back in the day and all that stuff.
Rodney
Yeah, I had
O
to
and
like
Marquise.
dig in. Yeah, I had to dig in the crates and pull out some of that stuff. It's kind of crazy. And then they kind of
I didn't know that either, honestly.
Then Luke
no
came
idea.
in and like took Marquise, and then Rodney found Joe
Joe
Cooley,
Cooley.
and it kind of.
Well, good. Yeah, good for both of them.
Damn.
And music history continued on.
But yeah, they were both from Riverside.
Okay. What about so with Egyptian Lover was older than you?
Egyptian Lover,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now why the infatuation with Egypt, man? How come so much stuff was from Egypt right
Dude,
there?
I don't
Why
know.
were we tripping on Egypt
I don't know what that was all about.
and space simultaneously?
Same time.
Yeah.
He said,
It was the clothing, though. Remember everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
jackets.
The jackets with stuff that was.
The jackets and then the hats with the split tails.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
You know, and then those glasses for climbing Mount Everest that you had to wear.
Right,
like,
with the leather on the sides. Yeah.
Well, you know, Arabian Prince,
Uh huh.
he was on our label when we were signed to Capitol.
Okay.
He was one of our label mates. Him and Compton's Most Wanted,
Yeah.
they were over there. It was very eclectic
No kidding.
label. Yeah,
Your life is eclectic, man.
dude. Our guitar player in the group, one day we had a meeting at Capitol, or we were at EMI, and I think the VP called us into his office, and he's like, "I have this group I want you guys to work with. I want you to do some
I
work
love
with them."
any story that starts out like
Yeah.
this.
I'm like, okay, oh, dude, I got tons of those.
Yeah.
He's like, this group is called Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Uh huh.
My guy, guitar player, is like,
I don't want anything
I
to do
don't
with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
basically you're saying like they suck, or
Okay.
I don't, because they weren't really at that time. They were just
Yeah, they were developing.
just developing.
But that was when you guys
passing.
were in Z-Look. That was what, 80, maybe 5?
No, that was 80. We got signed in 88.
Oh, in 88. So 88,
So
they were
88 all the
already
way up
on their
until, like,
way,
90,
though.
Yeah.
90.
So they had already released like Mother's Milk.
They
I
had
think,
done that
came
album,
out
or
in
they were
80.
either making that album with George Clinton.
George
that
Clinton.
was either
That's
in
exactly,
the works or
that's
done.
it, yeah. It was the George Clinton phase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, kind of bizarre. But it ended up being a good phase for them.
Yeah, it was great for them.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I really, because I was like, yeah, let's do it. And my boy was just like, nah, let's work with.
We don't want to work with them.
Someone else he decided we were going to work with, and they didn't. They ended up shelving the product that we did. It was just like, okay, this sucks.
Man.
It's just like 6 Degrees with Michael C. Right
It
here.
is.
So we're about to. I just want to throw a name out there to see if he can stick to it. You know?
Our guest for the very first episode
Yeah.
of this podcast was James Early.
Really?
Yeah.
D Train.
So the thing about James Early was he was in Vallejo, he was legendary. You know, when I was a kid, everybody knew James Early was bad. In fact, the very first words of this podcast were, if you grew up in Vallejo, California, you knew James Early was bad. Those are the first words that we spoke on this show. And you did. One day, I had a martial arts school for many years, and I used to teach this guy named Jacques. I taught a lot of teenagers, and then there was an adult named Jacques who was in the class.
Cousteau.
And no, Jacques Early, actually.
Oh,
I didn't know his name was Jacques Early until a little later. And then he started bringing this other guy around who he introduced as his brother James. And then I put together, one day we're working out and I was like, hold on, wait, you're Jacques Early and you're his brother. That makes you James Early. And he was like, yeah, that makes me James Early. And I was like, are you James Early? And he said, yes, I am. And I was like, man, really? So then, we started putting the family tree together where we knew each other, where our paths had almost intersected in the past, and eventually came to the subject of my cousin Daryl. And I said, yeah, man, my cousin. Or he brought it up, actually. He goes, you know what, man, I'm pretty good friends with your cousins. And I said, which cousins? Because I have
a lot of cousins.
I have a lot of cousins. I had 77 first cousins.
wow.
And Daryl is not even my first cousin. I don't even know how I'm related to Daryl. Like my mom and his dad are second. We're not even. It's not even close. But Daryl is probably my closest cousin. So I was like, "Which cousins do you know?" He said, "Well, I produced your cousin Kenny's rap record, Kenny Carbolito." And I was like, "Oh, who else you know?" And he said, "Your cousin Daryl." And he said it like, yeah, I did Kenny's record, but I also know your cousin Daryl, because he knew we were close.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And then, so cool. Yeah, we'll have to go, we'll get together sometime outside of here and we'll, have some ribs or something. What I did not know was that, because I only met Daryl when we were at a family reunion in 1984.
Oh, wow.
You guys played.
Did we really?
Actually, our family reunion had probably 750 people. And it was at the San Diego Convention Center.
Gotta find a
Yeah,
venue.
I was like, yeah, right, exactly.
I think it was one of those things like,
Probably
you
the
remember,
only gig that we played that was like huge.
That was the biggest gig.
remember
back
when
then.
Jorge Paez used to show up to
Yeah.
a fight in like the back of a lowrider? That's how you guys came into the room.
I remember.
See what I'm saying? That's
I
what I'm
remember
talking
because
about.
we had a gig.
Uh-huh.
We had to drive. We were down there. It was down in San Diego,
It was
right?
in San Diego, yeah.
And we had to drive all the way back up, like somewhere up north. We had to do like the next night or something. I remember we were like trying to. It was
You
crazy.
got squeezed it in.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They
I
probably
remember.
came in 200 the Tigers. Lopez's, green candy colored Corvette.
On top of it. Yeah. And then,
Gold rims.
so we didn't,
Wow,
that was the first time I actually ever met Daryl, was at that family reunion. And then a few years later, I met him again. Well, we're putting all the puzzle pieces together and come to find out that James actually met Daryl before I did.
Oh wow!
And
funny.
the two of them met because you guys were label mates at Capitol.
Right.
So,
That's crazy.
yeah. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with all that. But
Okay, you want some more stories?
Yeah.
please.
Okay, so cut to I'm here. I think I was living in Los Feliz. I had
Great neighborhood.
dude. Madonna lived up the street. I see her jogging in the morning. Leonardo DiCaprio lived a couple houses down. I lived right across the street from Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince.
Uh-huh.
It was cool. I go to the bank one day, and I used to have this folks over there. She used to handle my account. She was always telling me, Mike, you got to check out my son. He has a band, and you got to, listen to him.
This is what you hear from everybody at Walmart.
Right.
Everybody in your life's got to be like, Mike, you got to check out.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. And at that time, I was working with Babyface. I was hardcore, like doing R&B stuff. And she's like, you got to hear my son. Here's this demo. And she gave me a cassette. All right. So I look at the cassette and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Oh, I kind of like the name. It's kind of cool. She's like, well, they're going to be playing over here at the the Troubadour or somewhere. I'm trying to remember where it was. And I was like,
Somewhere cool.
I was like, okay, I'll go check them out or whatever. So I go down there and I go see the band. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it was kind of like, it wasn't what I was into at the time.
Okay.
So she kept asking me, oh, why don't you work with them or produce them or something like that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
Not into it.
I'm not into it.
Yeah.
So we cut to like 3 months later. I'm driving down Sunset, go past Tower Records,
Uh-huh.
big old
shit.
thing on the front, System of a Down.
Wow.
Oops.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I have their cassette though, their demo.
That counts.
Yeah,
That counts.
yeah. That I was like, oh man, well, I kind of blew that one.
Do you own anything you can play a cassette on anymore?
That's funny. I don't.
I like it. I can't play a
It's
CD.
great that you have a cassette. You can't play it. Pete
Dude, I
doesn't have
have-
anything you could put a CD in.
I'll go even back further. I have 8 tracks
Wow.
Yeah.
that I can't play. Just
Was
a
there
couple.
ever a time where you had a regular job where you're like you had to go punch in on a clock somewhere and do something you didn't want to do for not enough money?
All right, here's another story.
Yes.
I was living down right after I graduated from high school. I moved down to Orange County,
Yeah.
and that's when I was roommates with Melvin Davis. So I went to the schools like
That was the Shag Palace.
ITT or whatever, for computers or whatever. I got this really nice job down in Irvine. So I'm working down there, and Melvin is out playing and stuff like that. I'm working, thinking, okay, I have a 9 to 5. I got a constant check. I have benefits. I got all this stuff. So one day I
Melvin's racking up the ladies.
Yeah, right.
Mike
yeah.
C has Kaiser.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, come home and he's like, Mike, you got to come with me up to Hollywood tomorrow, man. They need a keyboard player for this film. It's a film. They just need a keyboard player.
He's like, man, I got to turn in my TPS report tomorrow.
I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to my job where I make real money. And, I'm going to do that. So I go to work, come back, and he's not there. So like I see him in the morning when I'm getting ready to go to work. And I was like, how did that shoot go last night or whatever? He's like, Mike, you're not going to believe this. They had us playing this band, and the band, it was a movie with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, and they called us Sexual
quit playing.
Chocolate. I was like, I'm like, yeah, that movie's probably not going to do anything.
It's going to be a podcast about all the bands that Mike wasn't in. And they included sexual chocolate.
Dude, to this day, I just like cringe when I see like, you know, when they...
I believe the children are future.
Sexual chocolate. You know, I see Melvin
Damn it, Mike.
with his Jerry curls. And,
Come on, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I could have been in Sexual Chocolate.
Could have been.
That is unfortunate. That is terribly unfortunate. Sexual chocolate. That boy good.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
That boy good.
Yeah, so. But.
Let's talk about the records you did play on, though. And
Okay.
the stuff that you did produce. What's exciting to you
Yeah,
now?
because
that
if you've
have
got
to look
misses
forward to
like that,
because-
you've got so many hits, like
Right.
things like just to
yeah,
be.
every once in a while you did land on it.
Yeah.
It's funny to reminisce about the ones that like, oh, I almost had that gig, but I had no idea, or I wasn't really into it. Now they're enormous.
Yeah. One of the ones that I was really happy about doing was back. It was my first song that I actually got into a movie. It was a song called "Shake It Up," and that was with Marcus Miller and Lenny White, the J Boys.
Wow.
And that ended up going into the first House Party movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was really excited about that. That was a lot of fun.
man,
Yeah.
that is cool.
That was pretty cool.
I'll put out there that I think right now Marcus Miller is the greatest American bass player. I'd say, never mind American, he's the greatest bass player alive right now.
Dude, he's very funny. He's a jokester.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. It was the weirdest thing because I remember when we went in.
I'd call him the bass equivalent to Herbie Hancock, I think, in terms of
I mean, I was always a Marcus fan, so
Yeah.
I was just like, just his sound and, you know, killer bass player.
Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast and not familiar with Marcus Miller, here's what you need to do. You need to go on YouTube and search for Run for Cover and start there.
Right?
And then just go crazy. Maybe my
Remember-
favorite Marcus Miller performance was Run for Cover.
I like, well, of course, all the Luther Vandross stuff.
All the Luther Vandross stuff.
Even
EU doing the butt.
Billy Ocean,
Sexy.
Yeah.
Love Zone.
Uh-huh.
Remember Love Zone?
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of cool, but not as cool as that whole album. What album was that? That was David Sanborn's album that had Run for Cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
Also had a song called Hideaway. And he traded solos with Hiram Bullock. Hiram Bullock was on that record. May he rest in peace. Man, that boy was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You know, it was the weirdest thing because during those sessions, during that time, that was like, Marcus was probably like one of the first people that, you know, I like kind of like idolized.
yeah,
And actually met
and actually
him
met and worked
and
with.
worked with him.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, you know, oh my God, it's Marcus Miller.
I'm in the studio with Marcus.
Yeah. So I called Melvin up and I called
And you said Melvin.
Melvin Davis.
Yeah, you said Melvin.
Yeah.
I'm in the studio with Marcus Miller.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, you got to come up here.
Yeah.
You know, and like, it was the weirdest thing because we played this joke on Lenny White. Lenny White's the drummer.
Lenny White played on that. He
He
played on
was
Run
in-
for Cover as well.
And he was a drummer for Chick Corea for
Yep.
Return to
Return to Forever, yeah.
Well, anyway, we played this little joke. Like, Lenny played drums on the track.
Uh-huh.
And I took all the drums out and I sampled some drums and put them in. And so Lenny flew out from New York
That's dirty, man.
to the session, right?
Yeah.
And I told Marcus, I was like, watch. I got to meet Lenny. So Lenny comes into the room and he's like, listen, you know, we're playing the track, you know, and I had replaced a bunch of stuff. And he's like, listen,
With what? Like, what did you drop in there?
I programmed some drums.
Oh, God.
I sampled some drums, but I programmed them and, you know,
Right.
did all this crazy stuff that a real drummer couldn't play.
Uh-huh.
So he comes in, he's like, you know, he was real quiet. He just came in and listened. He was sitting back and we're in front of the console, just like listening. I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? And, you know, he was just like listening. And I was like, and I act like I didn't know that he played drums. And so I told Marcus, I was like, yeah, you know, I redid the drums because whoever played the drums just couldn't keep time. It was just really bad. So I replaced him on the drum machine, and I looked over at him. He was
burning a hole in your
Oh
skull.
my God, he was just like fuming. I thought that was funny. Then we all started laughing.
That's fucked
It
up.
broke the
That's what
ice,
that is.
you
I
know,
just want
broke
you to
the
know
ice.
that is fucked up.
But it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Those sessions was really crazy because at that time, Lionel Richie was over in the next room recording. This was the weirdest thing. It was like he was with Dionne Warwick. I don't know what they were working on at the time, but like we were in the room, the control room, and all of a sudden the door opens up and Johnny Mathis comes in.
Jesus.
It was the weirdest thing. He was like, "Did you guys order pizza?" Like, no. And we're like looking at each other. We're like, "Is that Johnny Mathis?"
Did Johnny Mathis just deliver a pizza?
Yeah, I'm like, it was just really. I don't know why I thought of that, but it was
Mike
just like
C
a weird.
is fucking Captain
it was-
Random.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm very random, very random. Just but yeah, it was just. I don't know. It just made me think about that, but that was kind of strange.
Did you guys order a pizza?
Yeah, I'm like, huh? What? Anyway, but those are fun sessions.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how to follow that story.
yeah, that was crazy.
It is crazy. You're sitting there recording stuff, telling jokes with your drum machine.
Yeah.
And then, Lionel Richie's over there hanging out with Dionne
Playing a
Warwick in the
joke
next
about
room.
keeping time with Lenny White.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
Yeah, he was not having that.
Yeah.
But it broke the ice. Though.
Because
He was
something is
cool
wrong with
that.
you. Yes, that's an icebreaker, all right.
Yeah.
The ice cannot possibly be anything other than broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do that.
Right?
This guy
So, yeah.
can't keep time. That's funny.
So who ordered the pizza? Did you ever find out?
I don't know, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
The next time we have you on, we've had you for nearly an hour, and I just want to say the next time we have you on, I'd like to get you and Charles Quinn in the same room
Oh, dude, that would be dope.
and see
Yeah.
what happens because I grew up behind Charles Quinn, and he was the baddest dude in town.
Yeah.
And now I find myself in a situation where here I am just meeting you. We just met for the first time today,
Yeah.
although we've talked on the phone.
Yeah.
But you are in a playing situation with Charles Quinn. Do you guys have gigs booked for the?
They're booking stuff right now as we speak.
Okay.
So yeah.
And I imagine you'll be playing in and around Los Angeles area to
Yeah.
start, and hopefully make your way up to the Bay Area where we can come see you.
That would be cool.
You going to do live dates as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. You guys have something coming up, I think in Oxnard or.
No, we just did that just this past weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was the jazz festival.
Okay.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was us. It was Pancho Sanchez, Howard Hewitt. I know it's not jazz. Tom Brown.
Yeah. Jamaica Funk.
Yeah. He killed it. It was really good.
Tom Brown, he had that one hit, but he always had a bad band.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad he's keeping it alive because that song barely has any trumpet in it.
Just at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. He was good.
Yeah. Cool.
It's good. Nice guy.
We're going to keep our eyes open for O'Brien. Hopefully the rest of Howard Hewitt. He was just at the Concord Pavilion playing with a bunch of our friends.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like Howard
get
too.
we should get James in here with
Yeah.
Mike C
Yep.
and just play like random story foosball. And
Right.
we'll just like throw a name and we'll be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Something, anything. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, dude, I got all kinds of stories. I
Yeah.
got Rod Stewart stories. I got
Right.
Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston
Keith
stories.
Sweat. Boom, there goes the and you're like, Keith Sweat. And then James will jump right on in after that and we'll just go back and forth.
Yeah,
It'd
that'd be
funny.
fun. That'd be fun.
We will do it. We will
I got to
do it.
get some of the guys. Maybe I talk to some of the guys from Breaking Bad. Get them.
Please do.
Yeah, yeah, please.
That'd
It'd
be
be
a lot
nice
of
to have
fun, too.
Bryan Cranston sitting here and like talking about.
It would be
Yes.
nice. He's very, very busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we could get him, that would be great. But if you know what, anybody from that cast
Yeah,
would
anybody,
be
we
terrific
don't
because they all got good stories.
Yeah.
Also, when we're in Los Angeles, man, we like to anybody that is working and doing interesting things in the film industry.
Yeah.
We like to have them on the show and bring them in here because then they meet Hill, and Hill ends up putting them to work on something, and you know, it all ties together. We're all one big happy family. So yeah, man,
We got to
should do
put
it.
Hill to work.
Yeah, he needs a job.
He's not busy enough.
needs- yeah.
he needs a job. Hill just finished a motion picture that is, they're sending a rough to Sundance Film Festival. It's a documentary on surf music.
Oh, that's another one.
That's another one?
That's
a whole different one.
That's old news.
Yeah, that's a. Next year. We won't be ready till next
Okay,
Yeah.
not ready till next year.
Wow.
What is
you
it
just
you
finished
guys
the
are saying?
zombie movie, right? The zombie movie?
Yeah, that's. I just turned in the script for the
Man, see, you can't even get on the
You can't.
project.
I
He's
can't
got
keep
so
up
many
with what he's
projects.
doing. He's doing all kinds of stuff all
Wow.
the time. And half the time, he'll just come in and fix your script, listeners. Whatever
Yes.
your script needs, he'll come in and work
Right.
your story out.
He's the king of the rewrite.
We do like to take advantage of some synergies while we're down here, and I'm glad you came in. The next time you come in, yeah, definitely, let's do it. Let's get Charles in here because that's long overdue. We've had several of our guests actually. I don't know why, but we've had a lot of bass players on our show.
Yeah.
And the last time we were down here, we had
all
a bass
about that
player.
bass, about
That's
that
right.
bass.
Yeah, that's true.
Named Phil Deckard, and he said, "Man, you know who you should have on this show? You should have Charles Quinn on the show." And we were like, "Yeah, of course we should." So we'll get him in here. We'll
That'd
get
be cool.
you in here.
That'd be cool.
We got to do some. Typically, what we do when we have a music-related show is we'll throw out a topic. Like last time we had Daryl on the show, it was a couple episodes ago. We talked about the Rolling Stone list of the 100 greatest drummers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they were, like they sort of hinted at 100 greatest rock and roll drummers. But there were some notable absences on that list.
Did you know Eric Moore? Eric?
I didn't know
Moore?
Eric Moore. Mm-mm.
Okay, he plays with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the drummer for Suicidal Tendencies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And he's playing with you and O'Brien?
yeah.
Dude, that's something.
Yeah, killer drummer.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, what he can do if he slows down and has time to, like,
Chill.
Yeah.
Lay back in the groove a little bit.
Yeah,
The suicidal tendencies, boy.
He's busy.
You had to have
Yeah,
some.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's an aerobic workout.
Right. Yeah, can you go that fast and do, like, what are those ghost notes? What do you call those things? You know what I'm talking
You
about?
can go that fast and have grace notes. Nobody will ever hear them. Maybe he could.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the 100 greatest drummers list, and some of them were noteworthy. I mean, there were some good ones on there. I was happy to see that Zigaboo Modaliste made the list because I wouldn't have thought they would have considered him, but he
Wow.
definitely deserved
well
to be on
placed.
the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was like number 25.
20.
Or
Yeah, I think
something.
20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like John Bonham was number 1. Keith Moon was way up there. Hal Blaine was way up there.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. No Omar Hakim.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how he gets left off of that list.
And Meg White made it.
And Meg White made the list, but not
Oh, you
Omar.
closed your eyes. Because you can't see that. I can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No comment.
No, I mean, she's a fantastically successful drummer.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's very well said. Yeah, we've had you for an hour, man. Thank
Wow,
you
it's
for
been an
regaling
hour.
us with stories.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will you come back?
Story
you come
times,
back, right? You
story
can come back
times
with
with Mike
Charles.
C.
Charles. Yeah, story
Yes.
time with Mike C.
That's exactly what we're going to call it.
You drag Charles over here next time you're over here.
Yeah.
We'll work
That'd
that
be cool.
out. Daryl texted me while we were on because
Oh,
I
yeah.
shot him a picture of you sitting with the microphone in front of you, which I know he would recognize.
Uh-oh.
He says hello, and he's coming down soon.
Nice.
So that'll be what we'll do is we'll do a show with the whole lot of us. Man, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's really fun.
Mike C, everybody.
Yeah. The Break It Down Show.